Not to beat a dead horse, but sometimes you got to check in, back in on a story to make sure it's a real trend, something's really happening, and it wasn't just a fluke. You know, the whole ICE at airports thing, and all the Democrats said, they're going to shoot people. It's going to be, oh. And then we started to see, wait a minute, this is starting to, the airport line down in security. And then something really happened, and this is the part I wanted to get to. Then all of a sudden, the American people started to say, this is awesome. And then something else happened late yesterday as Tom Homan, you know Tom, border czar, remember him? He's the guy pretty much in charge, if not even in title, he's the guy in charge of directing ICE and operationally, and he's the guy that knows all this stuff. He hinted at something yesterday that would be so unbelievably awesome. I think it has the American support. ICE when you're voting. This is the ultimate fear of the Democrats. And why? And he asked the perfect question. Got that to talk about. We'll hear from some of the travelers yesterday as things are getting better. And we'll wrap it up today with, I'm going to talk about Lord of the Rings. I read the books when I was a kid. I've never seen one of these Lord of the Rings movies. It's just not my vibe. It's not my thing. But we're going to today because Hollywood has made the dumbest decision in the history of Hollywood, and who's going to be directly involved in writing one of the new ones coming out. Hugely successful movies, probably until now. It's going to be an epic fail. Anyway, we'll get to that. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. Going through all the news, but what you can do, think, or say about it, it's Wicked Radio, the live stream on X and YouTube and Facebook, and the audio podcast afterwards. But let's get right to it, shall we? What's the situation today? 2 days in a row. They always say 2 days in a row you start to see a trend when things are getting better, like at the nation's airports. How are they going? Well, we've seen, and I played clips from Houston, Atlanta, LaGuardia, all the major ones, right? Well, let's hold on now. Let's go to Philadelphia.
But
let's see how things are going there.
This is an empty line right now. We are standing in the middle where travelers come to check in for TSA. Yesterday, this was all the way back to the garage. So good news today, lines aren't too bad. We're live from PHL. Brianna Gallagher, Channel 6.
Channel 6, local yokel in Philadelphia, PA. All right, here's another one we haven't heard from yet. Newark Airport. Let's go there, right? Sometimes you got to fly into Newark. The best flight to get to New York. It's not that far. Let's see what this guy has to say.
All right, they're good. They're here to help. They're not bothering nobody. As long as they can check my bags and get me on my flight, I'm good to go. Right? I want to get to the Bahamas. I want out of here.
He's my favorite of all time because he sums up perfectly what the American people are saying. They're not bothering me. I want to get to the Bahamas. That's all I care about. Just get me to the Bahamas. I want to get the hell out of here. All right, what's the deal then? Well, here's part of the reason why it's becoming so successful. First and foremost, we're all selfish consumers and travelers, as we should be. That's what makes a good consumer. You're selfish. You look out for your own best interests and needs, your best deals, the best customer service. That's what everybody should have. It should be your mindset as a consumer in any facet, right? You just want the best for yourself. That way, you demand these things of companies and cities and public travel and all that other good stuff. Well, here's a great move, and this is why the ICE agents get it. First of all, let's just put yourself in the position of one of these ICE agents for a second. If they reassigned you and you had the opportunity to go to an air-conditioned American airport instead of on the streets hunting down these illegal criminals, wouldn't you take that job? And wouldn't you be happy to be there? They understand that, and they get it. So not only were they helping out TSA agents who aren't getting paid, they were helping out travelers during spring break, an incredibly busy time in American travel, right? Well, they're being nice about it, and people are appreciating it. And like I said yesterday, I think this point stands to be repeated. This is the first time many Americans, because they don't live in the inner cities, not most Americans, have had face-to-face interaction with ICE. If you want to call it a public relations moment, it's perfect. And they did things like this, handing out water while people were in line, being nice to them, having conversations. Guys, it's working.
He told me they're $4 up here.
They're free with us for $4 upstairs.
Yeah, once you get closer to TSA, it gets more expensive.
I thought what y'all do, you take our waters now, and then you charge us for waters upstairs.
What do you hear? You know, even if you're just an audio listener, what do you hear? You hear chit chat, idle chatter, this and that, laughing. Take my water, joking back and forth. Don't discount how important that is. First of all, when's the last time you went to an airport and you're in a TSA security line? It's usually people are like stone-faced, miserable. I'm waiting in line. I have to do this. Anybody and anything that offers a little bit of levity is always appreciated, and you remember that. The second thing is, if you're directly responsible for helping people get through the line and get to where you're trying to go safely, faster, they will always remember that. Like the guy in Newark said, I just want to go to the Bahamas. That's all I'm looking for. Just get me the hell out of here. That's all they care about. That's why this is having a long-lasting impact. Now, this is going so well. They hinted at it, that this may be not the only time you see ICE in your everyday life, helping out the situation, helping out with security, helping out with getting things moving faster. In record time, Tom Homan hinted at this and where you may be able to see him next at the polling place. Why not? A lot of people have said this is Trump's backup plan if the SAVE Act doesn't get passed. A lot of people have said that okay, all right. You don't pass voter ID and election security. We'll have ICE at polling places checking ID to make sure everybody's legal and asking questions and looking at papers. Okay. That seemed to be like the backup plan B. I don't know how many of us expected for Tom Homan on day 2 of ICE agents at airports to announce this, because he hinted right at it and makes a good point by asking a relevant question.
Are illegal aliens voting? I mean, bottom line is, what are they afraid of? And they say illegal aliens don't vote. Well, look, part of DS's job is secure elections, and I'm not going to say, what our plan is going forward, but if only U.S. citizens can vote, I don't see the issue. What they're concerned about. They ought to be concerned about the safety and security of this nation. And why?
He said it right there. Exactly. By asking a question, he said it right there. And he actually made a statement. This is always one of those telltale signs. I'm not going to reveal our future plans. Whenever anybody in an administration says that, that's part of the future plan. Because the question was from, I think that was the guys who are doing Turning Point's podcast now. They asked him that question. Okay, this is going so well at the airports. Are we going to see ICE agents at voting places? Jump to the answer. Well, I'm not going to reveal our future plans. That means yes. Yes, you are. And I will tell you, if they had just jumped to this without this TSA issue happening at airports, it would have gotten much more pushback. And it'll still get pushback. This is the ultimate fear of Democrats, the ultimate fear of anybody. It could be Republicans, too. Anybody that's trying to cheat an election. Uh-oh. Then what are you afraid of? He asked the question there. If you're on the up and up with your elections, why would you possibly be afraid of ICE agents there? And they'll come up with every piece of nonsense in the world, and they try to push the narrative, and they'll get to their favorite news sources, and they'll say, because they're going to intimidate people. They're going to, like they tried with the airports, they're going to shoot people at the TSA line. Remember that nonsense? And it turned out to be completely not true. They're going to do the exact same thing. They'll try to push it. But again, we've already gone through the whole season where you've had people, ICE agents, helping out people at the airports. So we've already seen it in action. They know it works. More people feel secure about this, and I think it's going to happen. And I think it's a great move. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I said this once yesterday. I'll repeat it again today. Possibly the biggest backfire in policy in political history for the Democrats, to decide not to fund TSA agents intentionally during spring break season to try to disrupt Americans' travel plans, to cause harm, to do that, to piss people off. They didn't account for this one. Thank God they're dumb. I mean, honest to God, thank God they're not smart, because if they were smart and they used to be and really deceptive in what they do, but they're not even trying to hide their strategy anymore. They try, let's not fund DHS so that TSA agents don't get paid, so it'll wreak havoc at American airports so that the American people will turn around and say, see, we can't have ICE agents. No, backfire. Put the ICE agents exactly where the problem is and fix the problem. And America says, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, yeah, I'm all for I'm in favor of it. And then the next thing you know, midterms come along, and all of a sudden you start to see ICE agents at polling places, and they say, well, they helped me get through my line at Atlanta Airport going to spring break before, so these guys aren't too bad. Major backfire. But I'll tell you something else. Congratulations to Delta Airlines. I cannot recall a time, podcast world or radio world, when I actually congratulated the airlines for something. But what a move this is. First of all, did you know that elected representatives get priority on commercial flights? I know it's obvious. I get that. I know. It's like, you think about it, it's like, of course they do. It's like they're not, they got to get to where they're going. They're recognizable by, facial recognition only. I get that's a thing. But Delta stepped up and took away their privileges while TSA is not getting paid. This is a ballsy move from a commercial airline. Very ballsy. This was the report yesterday.
And some airlines out there are getting fed up with Congress. Delta announced today they're going to end all special priority perks for lawmakers as long as this DHS shutdown is ongoing and TSA workers aren't being paid. Until it gets fixed, Brett, Congress is going to be treated like the rest of us.
Oh, good for Delta. We'll see.
Right?
Bill,
Yeah.
thanks.
You didn't used to see this. You really didn't. And the report there from Bill from Fox was saying that, you know, even the airlines are getting fed up with Congress. True. I'm sure they did, even though the airlines have gotten bailed out by Congress many, many times. Quite a few times, actually, in American history. But to come out and say this and then have a move to take away their special priority passes, that's pretty bold. I think it's something that's going kind of unrecognized. Maybe the other airlines will follow suit, but good. That's the kind of thing you need. Usually it would take the American consumer, you know, to demand that the airlines do this and there'd be some kind of a movement. People would get a petition going on social media. Now they just did it on their own, and they should be congratulated for that. Good. Absolutely. And they're smart. They know that Congress has never been less popular. They're just not. Talk to those people in line at TSA lines, even now when they're better, and they'll tell you, fire every one of them. I heard that. I saw clips of that on the news yesterday quite a bit from airports around the country. Just people, just fire every one of them. We're sick of it. Fire them. Get rid of them. Smart for Delta. Good that they did that. So we shall see. ICE at polling places, I think it's already decided it's going to happen. Whether or not the SAVE Act passes, whether they can get this thing done, reconciliation or not, I think you're going to see it. And why not? Tom Homan asked the most relevant, basic, common sense question in that interview there. Why wouldn't they? If their job is to secure, if DHS's job as part of keeping Americans safe is to secure elections, why not? What would you possibly be afraid of, either as a voter or a politician or some kind of a leader in one of those political parties, and I'll throw Republicans in with this mix too. What would you possibly be afraid of to have people checking more, to have more identification, to have more security at polling places coming up in November? What would you be afraid of? Well, you're afraid of if you want to cheat an election. That's all. That's all it is. All right, let's get out of this for a second, even though things are getting better. So it's actually good news. That's the big takeaway there. I am not a Lord of the Rings fan. I remember reading the books when I was a kid. I remember The Hobbit and Tolkien and all that good stuff. These new movies, it's just not my thing. I know that they're great. I have a lot of friends that love these things. They absolutely love them. They're all excited about the new movies coming out, new in production. I think there's one now coming out, and then the next one is going to be a little bit different because this is true. It's from Variety. Most of us don't subscribe to Variety online or the magazine because it's an inside industry Hollywood kind of thing. But when something going on in the entertainment industry, Variety is usually right on it. And they had a big story yesterday that has people in an uproar because already, and I can tell you as somebody that hasn't watched these movies, even I know this is going to suck. Because in the new Lord of the Rings movie, they've got a new co-writer, Stephen Colbert. That's right. He's going to be co-writing the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of the Past. It's a working title, says Variety, which will go into production after The Hunt for Gollum. That's the one coming up right now that they're working on right now. This is lost on me. It's probably lost on you too, but here's the synopsis. 14 years after the passing of Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin are set out to retrace the first steps of adventure. Colbert is co-writing the script with his son, Peter McGee, and franchise veteran Philip Boyens. Now, for obvious reasons, I kind of think this is probably going to suck. This is the same Stephen Colbert we're talking about.
I think we can all agree, guys. Now,
yeah, that's the one. The same guy that during COVID did a little dance routine with dancing hypodermic needles. Remember that? Yeah, this is the same guy, so it is what it is. I think the takeaway on that is Hollywood is never, ever, ever going to learn. They're never going to understand because you can't. I think it's impossible for somebody like Colbert to not insert his politics or his worldview into any project. Not even look what they did to late night comedy. It's like a sermon every single night. It's not funny. It's all politics. They're all compromised. They're all run by politicians. That's what they were able to kill late night comedy. You don't think he's capable of killing a series like Lord of the Rings? Of course he is. Of course what are they going to have? Transgender elves? Is that what's going to happen? He's going to work in some COVID lines, or some shots at Trump in the writing of the script for this movie. I don't know. Don't doubt the ability of these people to ruin entertainment, because the example is right in front of us. They ruined late night comedy until we save it again. He's completely capable of ruining Lord of the Rings, believe me. Anyway, doesn't affect me. I'm not going to see it anyway. Thanks for finding me. I'm out of here. I'm out of material, and you got to get it on with your midweek. Make it a wicked awesome Wednesday. Thanks for finding the replay on X and on YouTube and on Facebook. And the audio podcasts. Audio still rules, I guess. That's where most of you find this, and it's growing and growing. Just subscribe or follow all the good stuff. Look for Wicked Radio wherever you get your podcast, whatever platform. It's about to be sent out into the ether right now in podcast land. Thanks for finding me. I will talk to you tomorrow.